Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And today I want to start out with something somewhat different. This week it was announced that Japan is considering opening up again for tourists in June. Now, you will see some headlines that Japan is opening up in June, but don't believe them, they are still looking into it. The thing is, last week was Golden Week, a major Japanese holiday week, and the Japanese government will now be analyzing how this went, and based on those results, they will decide if they're ready to accept foreign tourists again. And then this final decision will be taken in less than 2 weeks, so hopefully in the next Gundam news, I'll be able to report on how we can all start planning to go to Japan again. And then on to the Gundam news. And first things first, I forgot to talk about the metal-built robot Damashii Woundwort teaser for 2 weeks straight, and I'm not going to make that same mistake again this week. So, here it is. And unfortunately, that is literally everything we have. We just have the silhouette, and we know that it transforms. And since we're on the topic of metal robot Damashis, they also teased the Deathscythe Hell, and just like the Woundwort, we just have the silhouette, and we know that they're considering it. However, this will soon change because at 10 p.m. today, Japanese time, Bandai will release a 30-minute YouTube video where they'll be giving out a lot of information on Premium Bandai and Tamashii Nation stuff. And by the time this video is edited, rendered, and uploaded, it might already be live. Probably will. So I'll have that video linked down below, and if it turns out that they announce a lot of cool things, I will also try to cover it in a dedicated video either tomorrow, or maybe I'll combine it with the Shizuoka Hobby Show, which will be held on May the 14th and 15th for the general public, and is already ongoing for like the present stuff. Typically, we get a lot of cool stuff from this show, so let's see what we get this year, because as we all know, for a variety of reasons, things have been really crazy this year. The show itself is finally held again after 3 years, and we're also dealing with a quite unprecedented drought in both new Gunpla kits and restocks of old Gunpla kits. So far, the biggest thing they've announced is a cross-platform promotional event between Bonds of the Battlefield 2, Gunpla, and Gundam Ace. And they're so excited about this that they misspelled the name on the banner. Mobile Suits Gundam Red Giant 3rd MS Team. Although personally, I like to call them the Red Tri-Stars. The team consists of 2 modified ground gyms and a ground Gundam, and other than their very distinct red color scheme with white accents on the left limbs, the first thing that I noticed was how all of their heads have like a mask on them. The 2 gyms have a gray mask with an extra antenna that gave me some serious Zaku Commander antenna vibes, and then the Gundam has one that kind of reminds me of a motocross helmet, and then with communication antennas inspired by the Victory Gundam Hexa. Although I must admit, when I first saw the banner image with like the Gundam a bit in the background, my first thought was that it had a mustache like the Turn A Gundam. The weapons then are also really interesting. One of the gyms is sporting a bazooka and a standard ground shield with a claw attachment. The other gym has the standard 100mm machine gun, a shield that has the same vibe as the one used by the gym striker, and then something on his backpack. I can't really make out what it is, but it reminds me of the Blitz Gundam shield. And then the Gundam is packing some serious heavy weaponry. It's got some kind of twin-barreled cannon or launcher attached to the backpack, and then for handheld weaponry, it comes with like a rotary railgun, bazooka, beam cannon thing. They don't say what it's going to fire, but it looks like it packs a serious punch. And then I kept my favorite modification for last. On the ground Gundam, the extra magazines on the side skirts are now replaced by grenades, or at least something that looks like grenades. And although it's not a huge modification, it does make sense. This ground Gundam isn't using the 100mm machine gun that would use those magazines that would otherwise be there, so they'd just be dead weight. Think about a unit like Blue Destiny Unit 3. It uses a beam rifle, and none of its allies, as far as I know, use the 100mm machine gun either. Yet it's always lugging around those 2 spare magazines, so why not just leave them at the base or replace them with something usable like they did here? And then we got even more cool Gunpla announcements this week. The Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom Gundam is currently the most anticipated Gunpla of the moment, and on Wednesday we got the confirmation that it will be shipping in November for 15,400 yen, around like 120 US, and pre-orders are scheduled to start in late June. And I'm kinda not sure how to feel about the price tag. On the one hand, when you compare it to the price tag of the Master Grade Extreme Unicorn, which was 23,000, it feels quite reasonable. But then when you compare it to the regular Master Grades, even the new expensive version Katokis, it's definitely not cheap either. But it does feel like a relatively good deal, I would say. And for that price, we are definitely getting a very intricate kit. And we also got a new promotional video that shows off all of the articulation, and my god, was it beautiful to see. Not only does everything move, but it also moves in a very realistic mechanical way. Just look at how the waist and the back move. The effort they put into designing this thing really shows. So if you want to watch and experience the full video for yourself, I will have it linked down below. The only thing then that caught my attention in a negative way was the right open hand for holding onto the beam rifles in their signature combined pose. It's just a generic open hand that does not belong at all. It just doesn't look right. Like, you don't hold a gun like that, and for a 15,400 yen model kit, you're telling me they couldn't at least include a hand that grabbed onto it in a more realistic way, or include an extra set of fully articulated hands, because it seems like this is a model kit that is definitely gung-ho on showing off its articulation, and then it's just got generic high-grade hands. But moving on to Witch of Mercury, then we got a new Gunpla announcement for the Gundam Ariel. In October, we'll be getting the SD Gundam X Standard Gundam Ariel for a price that is yet to be announced. More information will also be announced at a later date, but we do already have these 4 promotional images that definitely tell us quite a bit on how it's going to be. And then also in October, we'll be getting the high grade of the Gundam Ariel, who got some more promotional images released, but other than showing off some cool poses, they don't really show us anything that we didn't already know. Although there was something that I didn't really notice or register before the first time around. When looking at the backpack, there's 2 holes that definitely seem to hint at some optional backpacks for the Gundam Ariel. Then the high-grade Gundam Lubrith and Begwir also got some cool new action shots, but unfortunately nothing on their release date or price. So moving on to Gunpla-Kun, who will be getting a special model kit that will be included with the July issue of Smart, a Japanese men's fashion magazine of all things. And the big thing about this little kit is that it is made with Limex, or Limex, well, probably Limex, because it is a material derived from limestone that is currently being touted as a more sustainable alternative for plastic. Something that of course fits right in with Bandai's ongoing environmental efforts. And just like other magazine-exclusive kits, Gunpla-Kun is of course molded in one color, but at the Shizuoka Hobby Show we also got to see some painted examples. And if you really want to experience this new Limex model kit, pre-orders for the magazine start on June the 10th, and I will have that linked down below. Although, at the moment of recording, the link doesn't work yet, so it might only go live on June the 10th, because they also don't say when the link is gonna be working. And then there was some Gunpla news that I really had to read twice. They announced the Real Grade God Gundam expansion set and the Master Grade F90 Mission Pack H-Type. More details will be released soon, but they did already tell us that the H-Type will be a P-Bandai exclusive, because of course, and that the God Gundam expansion set will not be a P-Bandai exclusive and will be available in August. Like, talk about unexpected. The expansion set will cost 2,750 yen, a little under 25 US, and will include Sekiha Tenkyoken parts, and based on this image from the Shizuoka hobby show, it seems like it's also going to come with a recolor of the high-grade Fun Psyche. Then what we did get from P-Bandai was a second wave of reservations on Tuesday for the high-grade Hazel Ozla Gigantic Arm Set and real-grade Zaku 2 High Mobility Type R2 Robert Gilliam Custom. And through the Gundam Base online store, which is really just a section of the P-Bandai online store, a huge Gundam Age restock happened. But I did also notice that over the past 2 weeks, these model kits have been slowly making their way to regular stores too. Some of the highlights are the Master Grade H2 Dark Hound, High Grade H1 Normal, H1 Full Glanza, H2 Normal, H2 Dark Hound, H3 Normal, HFX, Adele, Genoace Custom, GXS, G Bouncer, and many more that you can see on screen right now. Next up then is the announcement of the high-grade new Gundam booster bed for 1,320 yen, around 10 US. You can use it as a standalone booster with your new Gundam, and you even get a connector to physically attach the new Gundam to the booster bed, so you can also put it in some pretty crazy poses if you want. Or you can also use it as an additional booster for the Type 89 base jabber. A presale will happen at Gundam Side F on May 21st, and at a later date it will become available through the Gundam Base Online and also overseas. And then, if you want your Gunpla to be combined with your bath time, then the next collaboration items will be right up your alley. Bandai is working together with Bikura Tamago to bring us Gundam-themed bath bombs. For 1,540 yen, a little over 10 US, you can get an entry-grade Strike Gundam in phase shift down colors that comes with a shield, beam rifle, and bath bomb that once dissolved has a capsule inside of it with either a sand yellow goon or a gray Zono. Or you can go for the entry-grade Strike Gundam with Grand Slam and bath bomb that either contains a brown goon or green Zono. Both sets will be released in July, and I really hope that Hobbling Japan will be carrying these because I want them. I never really had a reason to buy the entry-grade Strike Gundam because, well, there was the high-grade Cosmic era, but these, they come with the right accessories to totally make me want them. And this is also like the first ever model kit of the Zono. Overall, the detailing isn't too bad for a 30mm model kit, but you're definitely going to want to work on those claws. The goon, on the other hand, seems to be spot on. Now, what I did also find funny is that they advertised that by getting both of the color versions and then combining them, you can make a color accurate version. Like, yeah, you can make it less color inaccurate, but you're still gonna have to do a lot of painting even if you do combine them. So you might as well paint the whole thing and have two color accurate figures instead of one semi-accurate and one weird one. And talking about weird things, the commercial for these things was also pretty wild. I'll have it linked down below because it's something you really gotta see it for yourself. And if that still wasn't enough Gunpla, Ichiban Kuji released the full lineup for their next Gunpla lottery thing. We already saw the A, B, C, and E prizes being the Master Grade Extra Solid Clear, Master Grade Barb Solid Clear, High Grade Barb Solid Clear, and SD Gundam X Standard 00 Solid Clear respectively. And now we also know that the D prize is the Entry Grade Strike Gundam Solid Clear, another with bazooka, which I'm fairly certain is just the bazooka from the system weapon set. Then the F prize is 1 of 10 Gunpla themed towels, the G prize is 1 of 10 Gunpla themed A3 sized visual boards, and then the H prize is 1 of 8 Gunpla themed acrylic keychains. And you can also win the Master Grade Exia Solid Clear another if you get the last ticket. One try will set you back at 790 yen, 6 US, and they'll be rolling them out on June the 4th for as long as stock lasts. And with Japan announcing that they're considering opening up for tourists again in June, maybe we can experience these for ourselves. There's also a promotional video available, but unfortunately that is region locked. Not that that's a problem for us thanks to NordVPN. And if you don't have it yet, you can join our ranks through the link down below or the code kkrt. Not only will this give you a sweet discount, but you'll also be supporting the channel. Then from the figure front, we got the full details of the Gundam Guys generation Emma Scirocco and the Gundam Girls generation Emma Sheen. And the big revelation here is that Emma will also come with an extra arm part to display her either with or without Captain Henkin's gift. Other than that, we just got a bunch of images that are really showcasing the detail they put into her hair. Sure. And for Scirocco then, we also got images showcasing him from all angles. And if you want these figures, pre-order will open up today, so as soon as they're up for order on Hubbling Japan, I'll also have those linked down below. Emma is slated for a late October release, and Scirocco for a late November release. Then we also got the final details on the Robot Damashii RX-93FF New Gundam. It'll be available on May the 21st at Gundam Site F, and will set you back 5,500 yen, 45 US. Right now, it is limited to Gundam Site F, but just like the booster bet that I talked about earlier, they also say that it will be available overseas at a later date. In other news then, the Gundam Academia Project, which is a Gundam lesson plan that seeks to educate kids on a variety of topics through Gunpla, has been a great success and will continue after taking in the feedback from its first run, and we're getting a new Gunpla Drama. It'll be called Mass Production Type Riko, Chronicles of the Life of a Girl Who's into Plastic Models. So the story is about Riko, who is an average girl in every respect, to the point that she sees herself as a mass production type human. This then leads to a life-changing encounter in a hobby store where she finds a mass production type Zaku model kit. But rather than being all about the model kits, this series is advertised more as a drama series in which Gunpla also appear. Which then kinda reminds me of those old Gundam Seed model kit commercials where the entire family was into Gunpla and every commercial was just kinda about the shenanigans they were up to while building Gunpla. So definitely a different kind of live action series to appeal to a different target demographic than usual. As for the stuff you could buy this week, well, let's just say that we're immediately going to move on to this week's reading material. There was the June issue of New Type, featuring a special on Cucuruz Island, the SD Gundam Ultimate Encyclopedia Okawari, the Gunpla Technique Bible 2.0, featuring the Master Grade Gundam version 3.0, you had one job, and the weekly Mobile Suit Bible, this time featuring the RX-7802 Gundam from Cucuruz Island, which is totally different from the RX-7802 from Gundam the Origin. As for this week's Gundam Apparel then, it's also not a lot. But the one collection we got definitely has a varied lineup. The Ibushi Silver item lineup has two really nice designs, Rombaral and his Goof, and Dozelzabi and his Big Zam, and for 2,420 and 20 US, you can get the designs on a glass, for 3,850 and 30 US on an organic cotton bath towel or a belt, and for 3,300 yen, 25 US, on a pair of boxers. It's been a while since we've seen some Gundam-themed underwear, hasn't it? And all of these items are available for pre-order through Bankore starting today and will ship out in June. Then, also from Bankore is the acrylic logo display Excelondo Bell and original emblem of the Earth Federation, both of which are 1,320 yen each, around 10 US. Pre-order started today and they're currently slated for a July release. And then let's wrap up this week's Gundam news with some polls. With the release of Cucuruz Doan's Island coming ever closer and my voice giving out, Gundam.Info wanted to know which character we're the most interested in. And these are some very interesting results because we have a very close race for first place. Currently in the lead is Amuro Ray with 204 votes. And then for second place, we have a really close battle between Slegger and Doan. When I first wrote this part, Slegger was on number 2 with 142 votes and Cucuruz Doan with 128 votes. Then when I checked it again yesterday, they were tied, and now Cucuruz Doan is actually slightly in the lead with 170 votes versus Slegger's 168 votes. So the real question this time around is, who is going to get second place? Is it going to be Doan or is it going to be Slegger? I definitely did my part and of course voted for Slegger. And then in fourth place we have Carla with currently 62 votes. Honestly, kind of a weird pick considering the other ones. Like, I feel that someone like Bright or the leader of the Southern Cross Corps would have been more relevant here. But then next up are the results of the poll for Gogg Day, which was of course May the 9th. And the uncontested winner was the High Gogg with 51.6% of the votes. I'm not surprised. This quite radical departure from the original Gogg's design just looks plain badass, and its performance only makes it cooler. Then the original chonky Gogg still managed to perform pretty well with 33.2%, and the poor Gogg from Thunderbolt almost lost to the very funky Gogg from Double Zeta Gundam. They got 9.1 and 6.1% respectively. And what I found the most interesting here is the reason the author gave for their low scores. It seems that a large portion of the original Gogg's appeal lies with the balance, kinda, between fearsome and chonky cuteness. Something that the more blocky Thunderbolt version and ornate Double Zeta Gundam version lack. Let me know what you think about it down below. But this has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.